Thank you. This was the opening of one of my songs that I composed in 2011 called Watani Ana, which translates to I Am My Homeland. I am my homeland. 2 days later, 2 armed men kicked down the door to my parents' house. They walked in, handcuffed my father, 72-year-old physician from Vienna, threw him on the floor, and forced him to watch my mother, where she's being beaten and tortured. My mother was screaming, pleading with her assailants, and asking them, "Why are you doing this?" Their reply, "We are hitting you because of your son's music." His music mocks us. When I released this song in 2011, it spread like wildfire in the streets of my hometown, Homs. Homs is an ancient city where we had 4 Roman empires ruling the Roman Empire at one time. The parents of the inventor of the iPhone are from Homs, Syria, Steve Jobs Jandali. The song was about hope, optimism to the people of Syria, especially the children. They were asking for our values of American justice, freedom, equality. It brought them hope and optimism, but it brought hatred to the dictator. So much hatred and fear that my parents, my mother, my father, were faced with that brutal, cruel beating. When I saw their pictures, blood, broken teeth, black eyes, I contacted the US State Department. And within weeks, we managed to fly them safely, transport them to the United States, leaving behind their memories, their families, their home. They were uprooted from their lives. Before leaving, however, my father installed video cameras all over our house. A few days later, we were checking whether men or the armed men had returned, and they had. This time they were carrying guns. This time they were looking for a different ending. Before I continue, I want everybody to breathe, relax. My message is a positive one. I'm not trying here to frighten you or raise a political issue. I'm just here to share with you the story, my story, of the soft power and the amazing power of music. You know that song? Just literally a collection of notes, black dots, letters and words on a piece of paper. You couldn't see music, you couldn't touch it, it's in the air, it's the epic of freedom. Imagine if I'm like drawing on a white space, and that space is silence. I'm drawing on silence, that's music. You see the Mona Lisa or the amazing statue of David, you can transport it between museums, but music, it always takes a human being to recreate it every time. You don't see music, you see the musician. Music is my life, is my passion. However, I never realized the soft power that it possessed until that horrible day when I saw my mother and my father beaten because of my music. So music is not just entertainment, it's powerful. It transcends through genetics, through the boundaries, through space, through time. It reaches everywhere. I truly believe that what I just played reached those children in the refugee camps, or that child who is now drowning in the Mediterranean. And I call them Holocaust survivors, not migrants. When I went to Oxford, they had this huge migrant conference. I said, ladies and gentlemen, let me quote the Oxford Dictionary about the word migrant. Number 1, an animal migrating, usually a bird. Number 2, a seasonal worker looking for a job. Ladies and gentlemen, those children, those babies are not animals, nor seasonal workers looking for a job. Those are humans drowning and fleeing all kinds of atrocities and war crimes against all humanity. Music to me is my self-expression as a human. When I fail expressing myself in a speech, and usually I do, I go to my music and I pour my soul and my heart into it. And after that horrible attack to my parents, I started wondering, did music cause that? Is it that powerful? That an executive decision has been made to beat my father and my mother at my home? Wow, nobody taught me this at school. Now I realized why Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, when he was calling all humanity in his symphony to come together, is so powerful, even 200-300 years after his death. Mr. Mozart, who never went to Georgia Tech, his last 4 symphonies were never performed in his lifetime. But he kept writing for us today. Pararam, 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 pam, pararam, 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 pam. Everybody knows that, right? He never heard it. It was rejected. So I start wondering how music affects us in our daily lives. I have so many songs that makes me cry. I need another TED Talk to list them all. But you know, sometimes when you have music that is commanding, powerful, it actually changes you physically and emotionally. You can stand taller. For example, stand taller, tension. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, it's funny, like, you know, it might be memorable. Crying baby, play this. Brings you memories. And then sometimes it shrinks you. Rather than having that pride, it can be like melancholic, sad. Dancing in my life. You know, a bunch of people in a space. I've never understood dancing in my life. A bunch of people in a space, crowded together, jiggling their bodies. I don't like dancing, but you know, the only reason we dance is music. You know, all of a sudden, it's okay to dance. The only reason we dance because of music. You know, another example I have is this clay tablet. This is the first tablet before the invention of the Mac or the tablets. My ancestors in Syria, 1400 BC, invented the alphabets, the ABCs, not to the people of Mesopotamia, but to humanity. We went from oral preservation into writing. They also invented the alphabet of music. Music was so important to them in Ugarit, off the coast of Syria, where they invented the alphabet of music. It was about a woman who couldn't bear a child, asking God at the time, almost 3,000 years ago. People were like you and me, different clothes, different academy of medicine, but they had music. It was a lament, a prayer about this woman to have a child. 1400 BC. I always assume people 1400 BC were boring and, they have now fun. Yeah, they had music. It was so important. They had this complete song, and they didn't waste paper. They went on the back. They were like really, really progressive. And you know what? 40 kilometers or miles from my home, nobody told me about this due to dictatorship. That was only 40 miles away from my parents' house. And I went to high school all my life, and nobody told me that my ancestors down the street invented the alphabet. Another example I want to bring to your attention and share with you, when you think about Olympics and representing nations and countries, we don't represent them by how much GDP and the population and how much money and the tallest building and the shortest building. Two pieces of art will summarize that entire history, that entire cultural identity. Usually a flag, beautiful colors, a piece of art, like the American flag, and a piece of music. We call it the National Anthem. Sometimes it has lyrics, and we all remember what happened with the lyrics of our national anthem, and sometimes no lyrics. For example, Spain, no lyrics. They said music will do justice. We don't need lyrics, just music. So music can make you feel pride. Thank you. You may sit. That's the national anthem. I just summarized America. Powerful, huh? In like a minute. Powerful. That's music. So if music can provoke all these emotions and all these physical responses to the humans, even to animals everywhere in nature, would it be possible to have music that inspires us to have peace? That was the question. Rather than having that brutal attack on my parents, I thought to myself, oh, maybe we can have music that is so beautiful, the most beautiful music ever, that when you hear it, you feel absolute serenity, peace, love, maybe both. From that experience and from the realization of the soft power of music, I was inspired to come up with my foundation, Pianos for Peace, to bring art back to the community and to build peace through music and education. Last year, I put around 30 pianos, painted pianos, by artists, by homeless, by students, children, all over the city. And the idea was to bring art to everyone, children, poor, rich, transit system, airport, Georgia Tech. Remember the one at Georgia Tech? This is the one at Georgia Tech. A true symphony. People brought their instruments, engineers and computer whizzes, playing music. It was amazing. It was amazing. I said to myself, oh my God, everybody is an artist. Let me share with you that story when I went down the streets of Atlanta, and all of a sudden this elderly man walked in. He was hesitant to touch the piano. He wasn't sure if he was allowed to touch the piano. He came in, his clothes were tattered, worn, brown. He sat on the piano and he paused and looked around. To this date, ladies and gentlemen, I have never, ever heard Chopin Polonaise played so beautifully. I later found out that this guy was homeless. And he has been homeless for many years. I couldn't believe my eyes. The crowd started to gather around him. It was a concert, a free concert. Every note was perfect, passion, as if we had a concert pianist. And for that duration of time, people didn't see John as a homeless person. They embraced him as an artist. At the end of his performance, everybody went into an amazing applause, thunderous applause. He stood up, bowed, mingled with the people, talked. I waited. I was like shocked. Everybody left. He came to me and he leaned in and said, "That was the first time I felt that way in 20 years. I was touched. I think it was more meaningful to me than him. I was honored that my Pianos for Peace and my initiative inspired him and made him feel as a human for a second or for 10 minutes. Another story I want to share with you was children. We had these amazing children going into these pianos, banging them, smashing them. I mean, I was fearing for the life of my pianos, like their life depending on the piano. Boom, 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 boom. I said, take it easy, take it easy. It's a human expression, but you know. But it was amazing. It was amazing. They went back to schools. They said, I had a concert at the MARTA station. I played at the airport on my way to Cancun. You know, it was amazing. And, you know, in our program, we just don't do the public art display. We actually donate all these pianos to nursing homes. After the initial festival, we donate them to nursing homes, autistic centers, hospitals, and Title I schools. So one of my amazing experiences when one of the schools actually established or re-established, they used to have it, re-established the music program based on our painted pianos. And now they have a music program in that school. To me, that's just proof that the Pianos for Peace is much needed. We're bringing back the arts to the underserved communities, and we are bringing unity back to the community through music and through the soft power of art. Rumi said, let the beauty of what you love be what you do. Let the beauty of what you love be what you do. My challenge to each one of you, to myself, love what you do and do what you love. Don't waste your time. And my plea, engage in music. Music is not just entertainment, it's fun, but as you can see from my own experience, it's so much more powerful. I never realized how powerful it is. So from the bottom of my heart, be an artist. You know, art is nothing if it doesn't engage and impact every segment of the people. Join us, paint a piano, sit on any piano you find in September and play it, engage, and be a true artist. And join our Symphony for Peace. The literal meaning of symphony or symphonia in Latin is to sing together. Symphonia, sing together. Be a musician, be involved in music. It's the most rewarding experience you will ever have, and bring back unity to our community. Thank you.